wow, it's been a tough year. It's a weird thing to make your career your own personal development journey. But Anthony, I hear you say, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you making any YouTube videos lately, and just want to know what's going on. Well, the title of this video might clue you in a little bit to what was going on, but I figured I'd give you a little more context, a little more information, so that maybe you can consider it for yourself. This is an oddly specific situation, I'll be honest, but you know, it probably is going to apply to some other things, and I'll share a couple updates about what's been going on as well. But there are some somewhat fun answers to that question. One, I've been mopping. And getting very, very into it. I made this hyper minimal desk and really removed all of the excess from it and made it exactly what I want. In addition to putting up this stuff and making some shelves, that was fun. I filmed a sketch with some new friends of mine here in Arizona.
Just come here, man. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I've been making stuff for Attention Collective, which is our Break the Twitch private member community where I upload courses and different things. Recently, I made the Mindful Attention audio course, a 7-day series that details all kinds of stuff about non-judgmental awareness and self-compassion, and really talks through a lot of what I've been through over the last year and how what I've learned can be really helpful to you. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video, but that's another subject altogether. The biggest thing that the last year of my life has comprised of has been therapy. All kinds of stuff, like dialectical behavioral therapy, which is like mindfulness training, which is perfect. I couldn't imagine a better fit for the kind of work I'm doing and learning more about it. And it has been the craziest year of my life, for sure. Here's the bit that gets interesting about why I had to stop. About 8 years ago, I started Break the Twitch. So almost a decade ago, I started this thing where I was writing about minimalism and then habits and then creativity and now attention and loving your attention. This has been an evolution of a project, but there's been one thing that has anchored it the entire time. The thing that's anchored it is my own journey and my own process. What started Break the Twitch was me clicking that one-click purchase button on Amazon a lot and wondering why I felt so out of control, why I had such a hard time not doing that. And that brought on the era of less, more intentionality, like minimalism and that stuff, which led on to 2 or 3 years of me writing about just decluttering and minimalism and embracing this new lifestyle. The thread has been that throughout Break the Twitch, I have largely been sharing what I learn in the pursuit of understanding myself and understanding the things that I've faced. That's what brought habits into the mix when I started looking at the space that was created by minimalism and wanting to really step into that space in a positive way and implement good habits. So that's where years of writing about habits came from. And then exploring creativity and how I can do my best writing and filmmaking and music and all the different types of work that I do. Break the Twitch has been more or less, I now see, just this constant grinding of me trying to figure out what I needed to fix about myself. And there were a lot of very good things that came from it. In fact, the motivation that I had, or really felt that I had, was largely based in wanting to help, wanting to help other people avoid the same kind of pain that I felt throughout my life because of these different topics or me not understanding them very well. And essentially, I got to this point this year after about 10 months of weekly therapy and like really digging into myself, having ADHD, like the various lowercase t trauma that has caused over my life in addition to just childhood stuff and the whole gamut. And really I realized that to a certain extent, Break the Twitch for me and the motivations that I was having and the patterns that I was seeing really were coming down to like me feeling the need to explain myself to the world. Like, oh, hey, this is why it didn't work. Or, hey, like, this is what was going on. Or maybe it's tiny habits that will make the difference about why I kept it up. And throughout the whole time, it was therapy that helped me understand what coping is and what anxiety is and how it feels and like how to name and experience different emotions and know what we're feeling. And so looking back at the history, I can see how essentially I've been like beating myself up for 7 years, really lacking self-compassion. And so for a bit, I had to stop to work on reinventing why I do this. With the ability now to look back at all of it, I can say that I want to take this forward in a fresh way, not even a new direction. Still sharing things that I create, still I want to share like music and the illustration and art and other stuff that I'm doing, but do it within the context of Break the Twitch and the stuff that you've come to expect from me here at the channel. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but that's why I had to stop. It's a weird thing to make your career your own personal development journey. I know that anyone writing in the self-development space probably can relate to this to some extent, but like, it's like, no, this is your job, Anthony. Why can't you keep doing this? And that's like the voice in my head. And then the other side of it is, well, this is a very odd thing to be sharing. It's a very vulnerable thing. And I was really going through some of the hardest like conversation and some of the hardest introspection that I've ever been through in my life. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I think I'm kind of coming out of that phase of feeling ready to be tackling a lot of this stuff. But it needed new paint, or no, it needed a whole new framework, a whole new body of work, because I couldn't keep going with the motivations that I had, like the anxiety based, I'm not enough, like I need to do more, and the comparison and all this other stuff that people talk about all the time. I was in all of this stuff to an extent that like I didn't even really feel or understand that this is what was going on in me. I really had like dulled and coped and muted all of my feelings around this because, I think dismissed is a lot of it, and just simply wasn't aware of the things that was happening within me, or the things that were happening within me. And so there's a whole new level of awareness that I have. I'm sure there's a lot more that I need to gain from here, but I wanted to just tell you a little bit about why I had to hit the pause button for a bit. And hopefully there will be opportunities for you to hit the pause button to kind of maybe not question too much, but also just kind of go, like, where am I right now? Just like pause and look around and start to really become aware of where you are and why you're there in the first place and that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to get that existential. It really doesn't. It doesn't have to get that existential, but it is just something that I think every now and then we need to pause, look at what we're doing, and make sure that it's aligned. So yeah, TLDL, it's too long, didn't listen. Essentially, I got really wrapped up in this work over the last 8 years. I have done my best to keep it up. And at the same time, I've been going through things that were really just too raw, and I didn't even know how to externalize. I just haven't known. Like, I've literally in the last 6 months learned what self-compassion was. Discovered that I have an internal monologue that can be very negative that I literally wasn't hearing before. Learned about non-judgmental awareness, like literally being able to see everything and be aware of the things around you without judging it so that you can see it more fully. Like, it's just, there's so much now to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about it, but I just need to make sure that I'm approaching it from a healthier perspective. And so that's why I'm here now talking about this, sharing this, and that's what I got. So onward.